que tú me querías como yo te quiero a ti.
Y yo dije, layers, layers.
Llegaré hasta donde estés, yo sé perder, quiero volver, volver. Ella se irá para siempre, cuando amanezca otra vez.
Filming all my special events growing up, swimming with us in the Condesa Street pool, and pulling many, many pranks on me. There was one prank in particular that I know he will never let me live down, so I might as well share it here today. I've always loved hearing my dad's childhood stories of mischief, and one of my favorites was the story he told of a time he was hungry, since there was not always enough food to go around for him and his 8 siblings. And one day he was about 10 years old, and he went to a park near his house and saw a not so very nice classmate eating a big sub sandwich. It looked really good, and my father asked the boy for a bite, but the boy, of course, said no with a scowl. So my dad asked, well, can I just smell it then? The boy looked surprised and said, sure. And when he moved the sandwich close to my dad, my father took a huge bite and ran away. It was one of my favorite stories, and my dad had told it to me many, many times, and he was very proud of his cleverness, rightly so. But the joke doesn't end there, unfortunately. When I was about 10 years old myself, after having heard the story so many times, my dad saw me eating a bocadillo de tortilla de patata, my favorite. And he said it looked really good and asked if he could smell it. Gullible me, I said sure and leaned over with my bocadillo. Well, sure enough, he took a huge bite and laughed, saying, I thought you would have learned from my story. So among the many lessons I've learned from my dad is to never let someone smell your sandwich. But more importantly, he's taught me to be resourceful and determined, to live life to the fullest, to love travel and talk to strangers, to always look for the unexpected extras in life, and to keep laughing and pull some pranks on your loved ones from time to time, which I do.
The other thing about traveling was that in the summer of, I think, 2004, my father took a group of students to Peru with Sac State, and I went with him as well, and was teaching a class there, and we shared the same home, the same guest home, and so we were like housemates for a while, and then on the weekends we would take these trips, and so I always think of that as a very special, probably about 2 months time. We probably had not spent that much time together since, before I left home to go to college, and yeah, we bought matching alpaca sweaters, we went to the Cañon Colca, to Machu Picchu. So yeah, it was like that travel bug. We really got to push through with that in Peru, and that was a very memorable place. So you were part of that memory. Thank you, I love you, happy birthday.
I'm 13 years old, and this is the entry to my diary for May 5th, 1968. Quote, Sergio went to Vietnam. After he had hugged everybody that wasn't going to the airport with him, he hugged me and said, study hard and try to get a scholarship and be another George. In case you didn't know, Brother George won a scholarship to Spain and is there now. I answered, I'll try. I must, dear diary, for my whole family's sake, try my best at school. They all think I'm going to be as studious as George because I read a lot, got citizenship awards, and good report cards. But now, I'm not trying half as hard. I want to live up to the name, George Jr., unquote. Thank you, querido hermano, for being the tremendous role model that you have always been to me. And Patricia, was favorite sister number 8. How Jorge has spent countless hours tutoring me in my schoolwork, both in English and Spanish, and how much I appreciated spending time with my big brother during these study sessions. After our mother died when I was 17 and I was feeling a little bit ungrounded, Jorge invited me to join him on his summer abroad program to Spain. It was a wonderful experience and one that opened my eyes to a world rich in history and culture, and to some rather guapísimo chicos. A few years later, when I was in college, Jorge urged me to apply for the year abroad program in Spain, and without hesitating, I did. Once again, I lived in Spain and traveled throughout Europe.
He had perfect attendance through junior high and high school. He was committed to school. He was vice president, or he was president in 9th grade of the ASB. He was vice president as a junior, and he was president in his senior year. One of the big memories I remembered, he was very patient. He would take my mom and some of his sisters shopping at the shopping mall, and he would sit there in his car for hours, reading, studying, or napping. But I always thought that was special that he took the time to do that. He took me my senior year on graduation day. My family, we drove to Guadalajara, to El Grullo, Jalisco, and afterwards he took me on a trip to Mexico City, Guanajuato, just taught me different things that I wasn't exposed to before. But he's always been a wonderful brother, and we love him very much.
And I am Tio Jorge's oldest niece, or more experienced niece. First daughter to Victor Santana, who is Tio Jorge's oldest brother. There's so much that I want to say about Tio Jorge, about the incredible man he is, the amazing impact he's had on so many lives. And when I think about what does success in this world mean, what does it mean to be a great leader or a great human being, I think, and it's not power, and it's certainly not money, I really think it boils down to how many lives have you impacted in a positive way. And when I think about that definition, I think, Tio Jorge, you're one of the most successful, greatest men I've ever met. Because look at all the lives that you've impacted just in this room alone. And I know that this is only a fraction of it. From your siblings, to your nieces and nephews, to all your students, to your colleagues, to your neighbors in ESAC. I mean, I go to places all over Sacramento now, and when people say, Santana, Susie Santana, yeah, do you know Dr. Santana? We have met so many of his alums, just everywhere throughout the city, and it just brings me so much pride to be your niece and related to you.
I met Jorge Santana at San Diego State University. I'm sure all of you know where that is. I had just finished my tour of duty in the U.S. Army. As I remember him, he was very studious. He was a very studious student. often studying until 3 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't believe it. I was asleep at that time. Sound asleep. We often compared notes on our European history class. He did very well in the exams. We all put a lot of effort in our classes, but we also had other activities. We were active in the Sociedad Hispánica, which was a cultural club most of the Mexican and other Hispanic students had joined.
Nacieron todas las flores, a pila del bautismo cantaron los ruiseñores. Ya viene amaneciendo y a la luz del día nos dio. Levántate de mañana, mira que ya amaneció. Happy birthday to